Fever will have over 600,000 fans in attendance total this year, and the second best to that was in 1999 with the Washington Mystics. And any other team, not only this year in 2024, you can see the Liberty are third on this list, and the Liberty are third, fourth, and fifth on this list, but those are the only two teams that are in 2024. 600,000, breaking that record by that much. That's why it's so crazy to me when people try to deny the fact that the WNBA is growing. This attendance is crazy.
Picture this. You're at a Fever game surrounded by 17,000 screaming fans. The energy is electric. Now here's the wild part. Last year, there were barely 4,000 people showing up. What changed? One word, Caitlin Clark. But this story is bigger than just one player. It's about a team that went from zeros to heroes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Let's talk about the transformation. Last year, Gainbridge Fieldhouse was like a ghost town during Fever games. You could hear a pin drop. Now, it's a madhouse.
The WNBA has seen record-breaking numbers this season in viewership, ticket sales, merch sales, and just overall growth of the league. The WNBA has called for growth for several years. Taking a look back at the last 20 years, they've unfortunately been met with a stalemate, but enter 2024 and the Caitlin Clark effect. So if we take a look at this line chart, we can see the dip in 2021 because of COVID, and then this huge spike in 2024.
And the Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history. Clarkonomics, my friend, Clarkonomics.
The place is packed and the noise is insane. It's like night and day. Sure, Caitlin Clark is a big reason for this turnaround. She's a game changer, no doubt. But here's the thing, you might think it's all about Clark, but wait till you hear how this team flipped the script on the entire league. Trust me, what's coming next is gonna blow your mind. Remember when getting 10,000 fans at a WNBA game was a big deal? The Fever just laughed at that idea. They're packing in crowds that would make LeBron jealous. But here's the kicker, it's not just about star power. The Indiana Fever just shattered the WNBA attendance record, and I mean shattered. We're talking over 600,000 fans in a single season. That's not just breaking the old record, it's obliterating it. The previous mark? A measly 400,000 set by the Washington Mystics back in '99. The Fever didn't just raise the bar, they launched it into orbit. But wait, it gets even crazier. The Fever aren't just outdrawing other WNBA teams. They're putting some NBA and MLB squads to shame. Yeah, you heard that right. The Fever are pulling in bigger crowds than the Wizards, Grizzlies, Rays, Marlins, and Athletics. That's insane. We're talking about a women's basketball team outperforming established men's franchises in major leagues. Who saw that coming? Let's break it down even further. The Fever have sold out 16 home games this season. 16. And get this, 32 out of 37 games have had crowds of over 16,000 fans. That's not just good, that's consistently incredible. It's like every game is a playoff atmosphere. You know what's wild about all this? It's not just happening because of one superstar. Sure, Caitlin Clark is amazing, but this is bigger than any single player. It's a perfect storm of excitement around the team, the league growing in popularity, and smart moves by the Fever's management. Todd Taylor, the president and COO of Pacers Sports and Entertainment, summed it up perfectly. He said, with the increase in popularity of the league as a whole, combined with players that are more widely known, plus the interest around the Fever in general, especially with our games moving to larger venues, it makes total sense.
And it's after Clark was picked. Stores rolled out Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever jerseys and t-shirts.
Fans are on the hunt for anything and everything Clark now that she's officially a member of the Indiana Fever.
Away from Christmas time through, I mean, we didn't have nearly enough in stock for just the regular jersey t-shirts and whatnot. And then it's just been nonstop orders coming in still today.
Dick Weiss posted that more Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever jerseys were sold in one day than the Cowboys sold last year for the entire team.
It's like all the pieces of the puzzle just clicked into place at the right time. But here's the thing, the Fever aren't just setting attendance records. They're completely rewriting the playbook for women's basketball. They're showing that WNBA teams can be major players in the sports world, drawing crowds that rival or even surpass some of the big boys in other leagues. Think about it, just a few years ago, people were questioning if the WNBA could survive. Now we've got a team that's packing arenas like it's nothing. It's not just a success story, it's a revolution in women's sports. Packing arenas is just the start. Then imagine a player so electric, she's making cash registers ring and TV ratings soar. That's Caitlin Clark for you. But here's the kicker, her stats are even crazier than her impact off the court. Let's talk about Clark's rookie season. This girl is putting up numbers that would make seasoned vets jealous. We're talking 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. That's not just good, that's rewrite the record books good. And speaking of records, Clark didn't just break them, she shattered them. She now holds the single season records for assists with 337 and three-pointers with 122 in her rookie year. But Clark's impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. She's turning the WNBA into a merchandise goldmine. Get this, overall WNBA merch sales are up 500% compared to last year. 500%. And if you think that's wild, wait till you hear about player-specific merchandise. It's up by a mind-blowing 1000%. That's not a typo, 1000%. You know what's even crazier? Clark's All-Star debut, it wasn't just a game, it was a TV event. The broadcast pulled in 3.44 million viewers. To put that in perspective, it's nearly a 150% increase over the previous high for a WNBA game on ABC.
The Atlanta Dream set the record for the biggest crowd to watch a WNBA game in Georgia history.
Pretty exciting. One of the big reasons fans flock to State Farm Arena is, of course, the Caitlin Clark effect.
Caitlin Clark tonight.
Gotta watch number 22.
I've been watching Caitlin for a couple of years, and since then I've dreamed about coming to a game.
That she's with just brought a lot to the WNBA and also to the game itself and for women, so women's sports.
Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's creating must-see TV. And look, this phenomenon has a name, Clarkonomics. It's like she's got a Midas touch, but instead of gold, everything she touches turns into ticket sales, merchandise, and sky-high ratings. Clark isn't just a player, she's a one-woman economic boom for the WNBA. But here's the thing, Clark's impact isn't just about numbers and dollar signs. She's changing the game in ways we've never seen before. She's the first rookie in WNBA history to average 19 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 8.4 assists in a season. That's not just breaking records, it's setting a new standard for what's possible in women's basketball. And let's be real, Clark's not doing this against slouches. She's facing off against the best players in the world night after night. And she's not just holding her own, she's dominating. It's like watching a seasoned pro in a rookie's body. But here's what's really exciting. This is just the beginning. Clark's only in her first year. Can you imagine what she'll be doing in her second or third season or 5 years from now? The sky's the limit for this kid, and she's taking the entire WNBA along for the ride. The Fever's success is so big, other teams are literally moving games to bigger arenas. But that's just the start. Imagine this, you're a WNBA team owner, and you hear the Indiana Fever are coming to town. What do? You book the biggest arena you can find. That's exactly what's happening across the league. Take the Las Vegas Aces, for example. When they faced the Fever, they drew a crowd of 20,366 fans. That's not just impressive, it's historic. We're talking about the largest WNBA crowd in 25 years. And it's not just Vegas. The Los Angeles Sparks, they packed in 19,103 fans when the Fever came to visit. That's their biggest crowd of the season. But here's the crazy part. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark and the Fever. The entire WNBA is riding this wave.
She has lived up to expectations, right? I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For us, just in the women's side of things, and the height that she had, the expectations she had.
Let's start with the rookie, Caitlin Clark Kent.
superwoman. You see what I did there? She was on a tear, and last night was no different. Wings, fever. Caitlin Clark set to go as she broke the single-season assist record.
She's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. She's been regularly dishing out double-digit assists in that time frame. Teams can no longer blitz her and trap her.
Non-Fever games are seeing a nearly 20% bump in attendance. It's like the Fever lit a fuse, and now the whole league is exploding. Let's talk numbers for a second. The Fever's average attendance this season, 16th at 84 tickets sold per game. That's not just good, it's the highest in WNBA history. They smashed the previous record of 3398 set by the New York Liberty way back in 1998. We're not just talking about breaking records here, we're talking about obliterating them. You know what's wild? This isn't just a one-off thing. The WNBA as a whole is seeing a 44% increase in ticket sales. That's not a typo, 44%. It's like the entire league got a shot of adrenaline straight to the heart. And get this, the league is growing so fast, they're adding new teams. The Golden State Valkyries are joining next season, and there's talk of a Toronto franchise by 2026. The WNBA isn't just growing, it's exploding. Think about it. Just a few years ago, people were questioning if women's basketball could draw crowds. Now, we've got teams scrambling to find bigger arenas. We've got attendance records falling like dominoes. And we've got new franchises lining up to join the party. But here's the thing, this isn't just about numbers. It's about changing perceptions. It's about proving that women's sports can be just as exciting, just as competitive, and just as popular as men's sports. The Fever aren't just changing their own fortunes, they're changing the game for everyone. You know what's really exciting? This feels like just the beginning. If this is what the WNBA looks like now, can you imagine what it'll be like in 5 years? In 10 years? We might look back at this moment and realize it was the tipping point, the moment when women's basketball went from niche to mainstream. Remember when the Fever couldn't fill half their seats? Now they're breaking records left and right. It's not just about Caitlin Clark or one team's success. This is about what happens when women's sports get the spotlight they deserve. The Fever's story proves there's a huge appetite for women's basketball. We're talking packed arenas, skyrocketing merch sales, and TV ratings through the roof. It's like the whole league got a shot of adrenaline. But here's the real deal. This isn't just about basketball. It's about showing what women's sports can do when they get the same chances as men's. The Fever proved anything's possible. Now it's our turn to keep this momentum going. Keep showing up, keep watching, and let's take women's sports to the next level. This is just the beginning, folks.